Well, I made it up to the big rock. It's a little breezy up here for a fire, and a big storm's coming in. So I've decided I'm going to head back down. But I want to tell you about three significant events that happened to me, or that happened in 2018, that have forever changed my life. First one revolves around my side of the family. When my mom died in 7 years ago, I guess now, she was the glue that held our family together, my two brothers and myself. Her and my dad were divorced many years ago. She had remarried to a great man. Bruce had passed away about 5 years before Mom did. When my mom passed away, as I guess sometimes happens, differences of opinion, my brothers and I drifted apart and really became separated from each other. We don't live close to each other, but we didn't even talk. We didn't make contact on the phone. Once in a while, I'd see my younger brother Bill out in Oklahoma. I did see my brother Frosty he was playing a gig up in Manchester one time. But other than that, 6-7 years, we hadn't had much contact. So earlier this year, through I guess what was initiated by Frosty, we all got back together, and it was an amazing thing. We expressed our love for one another. We put all our past differences behind us, and and come to realize the importance of family. We're a small family, 3 guys, and that was a good thing. And we have since been in touch on a fairly regular basis since then, which I feel very blessed for and very thankful for. The second thing that happened, and this is not in chronological order, but this most recent event, was my father-in-law Bob passed away a few days before Christmas. And it's a tough thing when you're getting ready to celebrate the birth of Christ, and then one of your loved ones passes away. I'll tell you a little bit about Bob. He was a godly man. He was a deacon in his church. I guess he held many positions within the church. My mother-in-law, Barb, also sang in the choir for years. They're very involved. Every time I hear somebody talk about Bob, one of the first words that come is kind. He was a kind man. He was a gentle man. He was full of love, and he raised his family to be the same. And 38 years ago, when I married my wife Karen, I was blessed to become part of a family that is full of love, joy, lack of judgment. They start singing at the drop of a hat, and I love every one of them. I think if you've seen some of my videos, Karen's oldest brother Bobby died, I guess it was 9 years ago now, of cancer. And Bobby was the best man that I've ever known. And I've said that, I feel that in my heart, but the best man that I've ever known was raised by an amazing man. So I guess, the two of them are two of the best men that I've ever known, ever had the privilege to have had them in my life. And again, forever blessed. Forever blessed. The third, and maybe most significant event of 2018 was kind of a series of events. Started when I was up on one of these mountains trying to lug a tree stand up to a cool spot. I started getting these pains as I was climbing a hill right in the middle of my chest. And I blew it off, said, well, it's the strap holding my tree stand across my chest that's causing that. And I knew that wasn't really what it was, but you rationalize. I guess the second time I was bringing a tree stand up. No, not a tree stand, a camera. And got up to that same stretch of hill. Same thing, man. Pressure started off as pressure and then just developed into a pretty severe pain. And man, that's not right. I knew that wasn't right. But I was going on a hunting trip in about 2 or 3 weeks, I guess, 3 weeks, out to Missouri. I wasn't going to let anything get in the way of that. Going up to check the cards, had the same thing happen again. Top of the hill, pressure turns into pain, sweating. Stop, take a break. It subsides. I go on my way. And I'm okay. Well, then I was on business up in Canada, and I was walking up a hill from a restaurant to my hotel. And I guess I had probably one of the most severe episodes. And that one scared me. And really got me thinking. But yet, I still did nothing. I hadn't told my wife about it. And I'm just thinking, I'll go on my trip to Missouri. It seemed like every time I stopped climbing and got on level ground or going downhill, I was okay. So I said, I can do this trip. I'm not going to be climbing mountains in Missouri and Iowa. It's basically flat. But I came up the hill to put another camera out, and I had another one, and it was a bad one. And I sat down on a rock, and I heard a voice just as loud as I'm talking to you now, and it was a familiar voice. It was a voice I knew, but I couldn't recognize it. And the voice said, Don, get this taken care of. You are not done here. And I kind of freaked out. I was like, what the? And it was loud as my own voice. And it was a voice I recognized, but I could not place it. And so many things went through my mind. You're not done here. Get this taken care of. Was it the voice of God? Was it my own voice in my head? This voice of reason? I don't know. But I got home. My niece was getting married the next weekend. And I decided to tell my wife. I had told my brother when I'd picked him up at the airport, not about the voice, but about the chest pains. And after the wedding reception, my wife and I went back to our hotel, and I told her about it. And I was being stubborn. Yeah, I didn't tell her about the voice. My wife and I were both brought up Christian. And I know we're both believers, but I'm not particularly a godly man. I have not always been a good man. But the voice that told me to get this taken care of because I was not done here, that's not something I would say. So I got to believe it's the voice of God telling me there's something more for me here. I don't know what it is. So we got it taken care of. Went to the hospital. Found out I had a major arterial blockage, about 90%. Had a stent put in the next day. Went about my hunting trip. And still I wonder about the voice. So I believe that I heard the voice of God. He saved my life. For what? I don't know. But I'm not one for resolutions because I generally don't keep them. But I will say this. I don't know what 2019 has in store for me. I know I have a moral compass, and I'm going to follow that moral compass. And hopefully it'll follow me down the path that God has laid out in front of me. And I'm going to try to live a better life by the example of my father-in-law, Bob. I'm going to try to be a better man, a kinder man, a more generous man. I hope you all have a blessed 2019. Find the path that God has laid out for you. Well, thanks for watching.